Technology, its impact on your world of work. The world of work is constantly changing. 65% of children entering primary school today will be doing new jobs that don't yet exist. Technologies that haven't yet been invented will solve problems that aren't even problems yet. You are part of the fourth industrial revolution. Technology is changing quickly. It affects most things you do in life and will impact how you work in the future. What you think is modern and technologically advanced now might look old and slow in 5 to 10 years' time. Think about how the iPhone has changed over the last 10 years. So just imagine what the future of mobile technology could be. New roles are emerging all the time. Just think about the jobs of today that didn't exist 10 years ago. Jobs such as an app developer, social media consultant, and 3D printing engineer. Some of the tech predictions of the future include 10% of the world's population will be wearing clothes connected to the internet. By 2026, smart clothing will be available that changes color and shape and keeps you cool or warm. Artificial intelligence already exists among us in our everyday lives, and whilst they are predicted to take some human jobs, they still need humans to control and program them. Think about those in charge of controlling space robots, police robots, or controlling a robotic arm during surgery. Within 15 years, some things AI and robots are expected to do include driving cars, shopping, and cooking for us. Some of the jobs we know today will be considered being high risk for future automation. The jobs are there, just in a different and technological way. And remember, employees of the future need the skills to do the things that AI cannot easily do. Critical thinking, emotional intelligence, and creativity.
Good day, everyone. Welcome to Group 3's presentation on managing change during digital transformation, a theoretical perspective.
But before we get to digital transformation, should we not first discuss change management?
Yes, that is the best place to start. What is change management? Prosky defines change management as the processes, tools, and techniques to manage the people side of change to achieve a required business outcome. For a group or organization to change, the individuals within that group or organization must change. This means that to effect change in our organizations, businesses, and communities, we must first understand how to manage the change one person at a time.
So the next question would be, how do we manage change during digital transformation? To aid us in our solution to this question, let's discuss the ATCOM model. It is important to note, businesses change on an organizational level and a people level. Typically, business change involves the following steps: identification of a business need or opportunity, defining the project, designing the business solution, developing the new processes and systems, and implementing the solution into the organization. The ATCOM model focuses on the people side of change. The Prosky ATCOM model is a framework for understanding and managing individuals' change. It provides structure and tangible guidance for leaders who want to motivate change in others. The model was created by Jeff Hyatt, the founder of Prosky, a change management consultancy firm. The acronym ATCOM stands for the following 5 tangible outcomes that organizations must realize for lasting change: awareness of the need for change, desire to support the change, knowledge of how to change, ability to demonstrate new skills and behaviors, and reinforcement to make the change stick.
Let's take a closer look at each of the steps, as well as the consequences of missing any of the steps. The model requires completion of each step in the acronym in order to achieve the desired change.
The A of the ATCOM model stands for awareness. Awareness of a business's need for change is essential for individual transition. Awareness may be sparked by explaining why the change is needed. Communication of the reasons for change and establishing a justified sense of urgency are essential. This justified sense of urgency is more effective when it is delivered from an organization's senior leadership team. If you do not have awareness as part of the ADCOM model, it will create confusion among the people of the business. A great example of this is the change University of Stellenbosch underwent as a result of COVID-19. Owing to COVID-19 and subsequent social distancing restrictions, the University of Stellenbosch Business School was no longer able to accommodate students on campus. All lecturers had to move to an online platform. The awareness in this case took place in the following manner. The COVID-19 social distancing requirements were clarified. The urgency was explained to lecturers and students. The academic year was in threat. Urgency was justified by the rector and vice-chancellor.
The next step in the outcome model is desire. While awareness of the need for change is important, the employees may demonstrate resistance to change. Although desire for change is dependent on each individual's motivation, this may be influenced by line managers or peers as well. Line managers and peers are valuable for the development of desire for change, as they are able to listen to the reasons for resistance, as well as reassure and encourage individuals to change. However, an outcome model without desire can create resistance. Continuing with our USB change to online learning example, some students were reluctant to move onto an online learning platform, citing the absence of in-class discussions and foregoing network building as reasons. Some lecturers may have also been reluctant to change their ways of lecturing, as the online platform could be intimidating to them. USB management, coordinators and students interacted to find common ground, as well as highlight the benefit of completing the MBA program on time, thus creating the desire to support the change.
After desire comes the knowledge of how to change. Once the employees have become aware of the need for change and have developed the desire to support the change, they need training on how to effect the required change. Training specific to each employee's role in the change is recommended. However, the outcome model without knowledge will create anxiety. USB lecturers were trained on how to present and host an online lecture on a platform called Zoom. USB also provided students with documents detailing the use of the new online lecturing platform. The document included expectation from the faculty and the students.
After knowledge in the ADCAR model is the ability to demonstrate new skills and behaviors. Once employees are aware of the change and have the desire and knowledge to effect the change, the proof is in the practice. Employees should be given the time required to develop new skills and behaviors at the required performance level. Coaching is beneficial in the development of skills and abilities. In the absence of ability, the outcome model creates frustration. The USB faculty was given a chance to familiarize themselves with the Zoom platform. Faculty received coaching and the initial classes were supported by USB management. The faculty actively pursue feedback from students to enhance subsequent lectures.
The next step is reinforcement to make the change stick. Once all the before-mentioned steps are achieved, the organization must ensure that the change is sustainable in the longer term. Reinforcement includes positive recognition as well as coaching to prevent employees from reverting to old habits. In the absence of reinforcement, reversal takes place. Continuing with our USB online learning example, at the USB, students and lecturers are continuously reminded of Zoom protocol inclusive of updates. Students are familiar with the Zoom platform expectations, which are reinforced twice a week.
So now that we have explained the outcome model, let's discuss the reason for using this model. Even a company as big as Microsoft stated that working their adoption and change management program through the outcome model gave them a higher degree of engagement, as they were treating people differently. Microsoft's feedback tells us that the outcome model has people at its core of implementing change. The outcome model enables successful change by equipping people with a common language for change. It assists leaders to plan and guide change activities, and it helps individuals within organizations to see themselves as part of the solution. So now that we have this great outcome model, why does organizational change still fail? Organizational change initiatives don't fail because the change solution is not effective. Instead, it is because the people have not adopted the change. The reasons could be that employees don't understand the benefits of adopting new technologies and tools, or that employees aren't prepared to be successful in the new environment. Another reason could be that leaders aren't equipped to sponsor change and manage resistance effectively. A great example of this will be to compare universities that executed the change to online learning well versus other universities that struggle to do the same. As seen in this article, the University of Johannesburg was expected to start online classes, but it was met with disgruntlement from students as they did not feel included in the process and wanted more discussions around it.
Let's have a look at some of the advantages and disadvantages of using ADKAR to manage change during digital transformation. The advantages include that ADKAR focuses on outcomes, whereas most change management models focus on tasks. The model can be used to measure the progression of the change at each of the steps, as any gaps are rectifiable. The model recognizes that it is people who facilitate the change and not simply processes. It also provides a clear checklist of activities that need to be accomplished to manage change. The disadvantages includes that ADKAR ignores management of the program and the requirement to provide clarity of direction, as well as the steps that are required to get to the final destination. The naysayers also state that it's better suited to smaller change initiatives. Merely focusing on the people dimension may not be enough to realize large-scale change.
So, how do we know what technology will be beneficial for an organization? Choosing the right technology to implement is just as important as the implementation process itself. Making use of the hype cycle is one way of selecting technologies that are beneficial to business's strategy at the right time. But what do the words hype and cycle mean anyway? Hype as a noun is an extravagant or intensive publicity or promotion. Cycle refers to a series of events that are regularly repeated in the same order. And what is Gartner's hype cycle? Gartner's hype cycle is a graphical portrayal of a common pattern that occurs with each new technology or other innovation. Gartner is an American research, advisory, and information technology firm. Every year, Gartner creates more than 90 hype cycles in multiple domains for clients to track technology maturity and future potential.
So how can organizations use the hype cycle for their benefit? When new technologies emerge with bold promises, how can companies make out the hype from what's commercially viable? Also, will the claims pay off? And if so, when? The Gartner hype cycle provides a graphical portrayal of the maturity and adoption of technologies and applications and how these may be relevant to solving real business problems as well as capitalize on new opportunities. There are 5 phases in the hype cycle: technology trigger, peak of inflated expectations, trough of disillusionment, slope of enlightenment, and plateau of productivity.
How do hype cycles work in practice? We use the 2019 hype cycle for emerging technologies to explain the first 3 phases. In the innovation trigger phase, a potential technology breakthrough kicks off, triggering significant publicity. There is no usable product and commercial viability is unproven. In the 2019 emerging technology hype cycle, augmented technology will plateau in 2 to 5 years. Light cargo delivery drones within 5 to 10 years, whereas nanoscale 3D printing and flying autonomous vehicles will plateau in more than 10 years. In the peak of inflated expectations, early media attention produces a number of success stories along with failures. However, not many companies take action. The 2019 emerging technology hype cycle reflects graph analytics and 5G with an expected plateau of 5 to 10 years and 2 to 5 years respectively. In the trough of disillusionment, interest diminishes as experiments and implementations become unsuccessful. Investments continue only if the remaining providers enhance their products to the fulfillment of early adopters. In the 2019 emerging technology hype cycle, autonomous driving and 3D sensing cameras are expected to plateau after an excess of 10 years and within 2 to 5 years respectively. For illustrative purposes, the 2019 hype cycle for digital government technology is used to explain the remaining two phases. In the slope of enlightenment, technology benefits the enterprise and the enterprise becomes more widely understood. Second and third generation products appear from technology providers. More enterprises fund trials. However, risk-averse companies remain cautious. In the 2019 hype cycle for digital government technology, IT risk management solutions and government cloud services are expected to plateau within 2 to 5 years and less than 2 years, respectively. In the plateau of productivity, mainstream adoption takes off. Standards for assessing supplier viability are clearly defined. The technology's broad market applicability and relevance clearly pays off. In the 2019 hype cycle for digital government technology, cloud offers is expected to plateau in less than 2 years.
So what are the benefits of using the hype cycle? The hype cycle assists in separating hype from the real drivers of technology's commercial promise. It also helps mitigate the risk of technology investment decisions, and it compares companies' understanding of a technology's business value with the objectivity of experienced IT analysts.
How can companies use hype cycle? Hype cycles can be used to become educated about the promise of an emergent technology within industry context and individual risk appetite. Although risky, early adoption can have rewards. With early adoption, companies ought to be mindful that risky payments don't always pay off. A sound cost-benefit analysis is key, particularly for company executives who are moderate in their understanding of the early investment argument for unproven technologies. If there are too many unanswered questions surrounding the viability of a new technology, then it may be best to wait it out while studying if others have realized value from the technology. As we have an online learning case study, it would be advised that universities take note of the e-learning prediction hype curve to keep their eye on emerging e-learning technologies to possibly invest in for the future. The 90 hype cycles that Gartner generates annually portrays the emergence of technology hype in industries inclusive of customer relationship management technology, digital marketing and supply chain planning technologies, to name a few. These industries would then make use of their hype cycles to evaluate technologies that are appropriate for their business.
Wow, I really understand managing change during digital transformation a lot better now.
I know, right? Thank you, class, for your time. Are there any questions?
It does not sound like it. So enjoy the rest of your evening.